Good day, everyone. Today, I will be presenting about the Republic Act number 6728, also known as the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act. And here are the learning outcomes for today's lesson. We have to understand RA number 6728. Second, to distinguish each of the sections embedded in this act. Thirdly, to know its purpose and importance. Now, Republic Act number 6728, or the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act, was enacted in 1989. It aims to provide financial assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions through scholarship, grants, and loans. Also, there are various what do you call it? Various programs that was um, aims to provide financial assistance to students and teachers in private education, such as the PESFA, the SNPLP, and the teacher programs, and we will be discussing it later on. Now, there are 14 sections of the law in the RA 6728. We have the Section 1 for the short title, Section 2 for the declaration of policy, Section 3 for the definition of terms, Section 4 is for the creation of private education students financial assistance or the PESFA program. Section 5 is the coverage of the PESFA program. Then we have Section 6 is the SNPLP or the Study Now, Pay Later plan. And the coverage of SNPLP was in Section 7. And Section 8 is the Teacher's Education Assistance for College and Higher Education or the TEACH program. And then the coverage of the TEACH program is in Section 9. And Section 10 is the allocation of funds. Section 11 is the implementing guidelines. Section 12 is the separability clause. Section 13 is the repelling clause. And Section 14 is the effectivity. Now, we will be discussing each of these sections for the next slide. Now, we have the section 1, which is the short title. The short title of the law is Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act. And in this section aims to give the law an official name that can be easily referred to. And we have section 2, which is the Declaration of Policy. Now, this section sets out the policy of the government with respect to education. The law aims to provide financial assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions in order to promote equal access to quality education. It also seeks to encourage private sector participation in the education sector to achieve the goal of the law. Then section 3, which is the definition of terms, and in this section defines the key term used in the law. For instance, it defines a private education institution. It is an educational institution that is not operated by the government or any public authority. And also we have the priority courses, which is referred to the courses that are deemed essential to the country's economic and social development, while we have the qualified students that are students who meet the eligibility criteria for the financial assistance programs established by the law. And moving on to section 4, which is the creation of private education student financial assistance or the PESFA program. Now, in this section establishes the PESFA program, which provides financial assistance to students who are enrolled in priority courses in private higher education institutions. And the aim of the program is to help these students pay for their tuition, books, and other necessary school expenses. And we have the coverage of the PESPA program, which is it specifies the maximum amount of financial assistance that qualified students can receive, which is determined by the Commission on Higher Education or the CHED. And the program is also subject to a specific duration and guidelines, and participating institutions have certain responsibilities to fulfill. Then moving on to the SNPLP program or the Study Now, Pay Later Plan program, which provides loans to students who are enrolled in private higher education institutions. The loans are intended to help students pay for the tuition, books, and other necessary school expenses. The SNPLP has a study now, pay later scheme, which means that students can start repaying their loans after they graduate and start working. Then we have the coverage of SNPLP, which it outlines the terms and conditions of the loans, including the interest rates, the eligibility requirements for borrowers, and the repayment schedule. And moving on to section 8, discussing the TEACH program, which is the abbreviation of Teachers Education Assistance for College and Higher Education Program. Now, in this section, which provides financial assistance to teachers who want to pursue graduate studies or take up additional courses related to their profession. The aim of the program is to support the professional development of teachers in private education institutions. So in this section, it focuses on the teachers' needs and wants in their respective field to develop in their skills. Now we have the coverage of the TEACH program. Um, In this section, it outlines the amount of financial assistance that qualified teachers can receive, the eligibility requirements, and the responsibilities of participating institution. Now we have section 10 for the allocation of funds, which is in this section provides for the allocation of funds for the implementation of the PESFA, SNPLP, and the TEACH programs. The funds are to be taken from the budget of the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education, or the CHED. Now we have section 11, the implementing guidelines. This section mandates the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education to issue the implementing guidelines for the PESFA, SNPLP, and TEACH programs. The guidelines are intended to provide specific details on how the programs are to be implemented and administered. Now we have section 12 for the separability clause, which this section declares that if any provision of the law is declared invalid or unconstitutional, the other provision shall remain valid and in effect. This clause is included to ensure that the entire law will not be invalidated even if some provisions are deemed unconstitutional. Then section 13, which is the repelling clause. The repelling clause of Republic Act 6728 declares the invalidity of all existing laws, decrees, executive orders, rules and regulations, or parts thereof that are that are inconsistent with the provisions of the Act. And also this provision ensures that the implementation of the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act, or the Republic Act 6728, will not be hampered by any conflicting laws or regulations. And lastly, we have the effectivity in section 14, which is specifies that the act shall take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or any newspaper of general education. This means that the law will become operational and enforceable after the specified period, and the government can start providing assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions through the program created by the Act. Now, in conclusion, Republic Act number 6728 is an important piece of legislation that promotes equal access to quality education and encourages private sector participation in the education sector. Through the PESFA, SNPLP, and TEACH programs, the law provides financial assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions, thereby by helping to ensure that they can pursue the academic and their professional goals. And also, Republic Act number 6728 is a law that aims to provide financial assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions through various programs such as PESFA, SNPLP, and TEACH. The law is also an important step towards promoting equal access to quality education for all Filipinos. Now, before I end our discussion today. As Nelson Mandela once said, that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And such, by providing financial assistance to students and teachers in private education institutions, Republic Act number 6728 helps to empower individuals to achieve their full potential and to contribute to the development of their communities and the country as a whole. Again, this is the Republic Act 6728. Thank you for listening, everyone, and have a good day.